Hello everyone, I'm Kristel and Celemin from the Batangas State University, Alangilan Campus, taking Bachelor of Science in Information Technology from the section 2105. This video is all about the compilations of the activities in chapter 11. So let's start with the first activity. So, the activity part 1, security threats and vulnerabilities. Instruction: read the security threats and vulnerability scenarios. Drag each scenario to its corresponding type of security threat. So, we will just drag all this into it is either information theft, identity theft, data loss or manipulation, disruption of service. So let's start with the information theft. So the example of the information theft is the stealing scientific research reports. So that is a kind of information threat. So they are stealing the information about the research reports. So another is the stealing a company's user database. Then the next one is the identity theft. The identity theft is the making illegal online purchases. And the last one is last example of the identity theft is impersonating someone to obtain credit. Then data loss manipulation. The data loss example of data loss is altering data records or changing the data records. The next one is sending a virus to reformat a hard drive. So altering data records is a kind of manipulation, and sending a virus to reformat a hard drive is example of a data loss. Then disruption of service. This is preventing legal users from accessing data services and overloading a network to keep users out. So let's check if our answers are correct. So correct, you have successfully matched each scenario to its security threat type. So let's proceed to the next. So we are now in the part 2, security threats and vulnerabilities. This one is for hard drive, environmental, electrical, and maintenance. So we will start with the hard drive. So the hard drive is use security cameras or the CCTVs. Then the next one is lock up devices, preventing unauthorized access. Then we are now in the environmental. So that is control temperature and humidity. Then this one, create positive airflow for the example of the environmental. Then the next one is the electrical. So install UPS system, and then install redundant power supplies. Then the maintenance is label critical cables and components and control access to console ports. So let's check. Correct, you have successfully matched each security practice to its security management type. So let's proceed to the next activity. This is the second activity, activity types of attacks. So instruction, determine the types of security attacks described. Drag each security attack type to its scenario. There, we have the worm, virus, reconnaissance, access, Trojan horse, and denial of service. So let's start with the security attack scenario. So I will read the scenario. A computer is used as a print server for ACME Incorporated. The IT staff failed to apply security updates to this computer for over 60 days. Now the print server is operating slowly and sending a high amount of malicious packets to its network interface card. This one is worm. Then the next one is Sharon, an IT intern at ACME Incorporated, noticed some strange packets while revising the security logs generated by the firewall. A handful of IP addresses on the internet were sending malinformed packets to several different IP addresses at several different random port number inside the ACME Incorporated. So that is the reconciliation. So let's so we will check first if these two answers are correct. So correct, you have successfully matched its security attack type to its scenario. So let's proceed to the next. So continuation of the first, we'll just continue. So this is the scenario. Jeremiah was browsing the internet from his personal computer when a random website offered a free program to clean his system. After downloading and running the executable, the operating system crashed. Crucial operating system related files had been corrupted, and Jeremiah's computer required a full disk format and operating system reinstallation. So that is a kind of virus. The virus is the most common problem that we have with our laptop. Then the next one is Ariana found a flash drive laying on the pavement of a mall parking lot. She asked around but couldn't find the owner. She decided to keep it and plug it to her laptop, only to find a photo folder. Feeling curious, Ariana opened a few photos before formatting the flash drive for her own use. Afterwards, Ariana noticed that her laptop camera was active. So that is a Trojan horse. So let's check if it is so correct. So we will now proceed to the next activity. So this is also the continuation of the two activity. So Angela, an IT staff member of ACME Incorporated, noticed that communication with the company's web server is very slow. After investigating, she determines that the cause of the slow response is due to a computer on the internet sending a very large number of malinformed web requests to ACME's web server. This is a denial of service. Then George needed to share a video with a coworker. Because of the large size of the video file, he decided to run a simple FTP server on his workstation to serve the video file to his co-worker. To make things easier, George created an account with a simple password file and provided it to his co-worker on Friday. Without the proper security measure or a strong password, the IT staff wasn't surprised to learn on Monday that George's workstation had been compromised and was trying to upload work-related documents to the internet. So that is an access. So let's check. So correct, so we can now proceed to the next activity. So this is the third activity. Activity show commands. Instruction is read the show command scenarios. Drag each show command to the field next to the appropriate scenarios. So the choices are, the show commands are show version, show IP protocol, show ARP, show startup config, show IP route, and show IP int brief. So these are the show commands scenarios. You suspect there is a problem with the current switch configuration. You want to see the saved configuration so that you can compare it to what is currently running. So that is the show startup config. So the show startup config is saved in the NVRAM, which is even we turn off the computers, it will not erase or it will not disappear. So next scenario is you are on a call with the Cisco technical assistant personnel. They ask you for the switch, iOS name, RAM, and VRAM, and flash available. They also ask for the hexadecimal boot location. This is the show version. Next one is you are running the EIGRP routing protocol and need to know the update intervals and what active interfaces and networks are being advertised by your router. It is a show IP route. Next scenario is you cannot get to the internet. You need to find out if your router has a path to the internet and which protocol are being used to provide the path. So it is an show IP protocol. Next scenario is your network documentation really needs to be updated. A quick listing of the IP addresses of your routers in relation to their MAC address would help finish the task for recording purposes. So this show ARP or the show ARP. The last scenario is a switch is the closest intermediate device to you. It has 24 ports. You want to see a simple list of ports being used. There is status of the VLAN IP address of the switch. So that is the show IP int brief. So let's check. So correct, you have successfully matched each show command to its scenario. So we'll now proceed to the next activity. So this is the last activity for the chapter 11. So activity, order the troubleshooting steps. So drag each step to the field next to its appropriate description. So we have step 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So these are the description. So establish a theory of probable causes. That is a step 2. Then establish a plan of action to resolve the So now we are in the last activity of chapter 11. So activity, order the troubleshooting steps. So we have step 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So now we will locate the first step, or the step 1. The step 1 is identify the problem. So that is the first step. Next is Step 2 is establish a theory of probable causes. Step 3 is test the theory to determine the cause. Then step 4 is establish a plan of action to resolve the problem and implement the solution. Step 5 is verify full system functionality and implement preventive measures. And the last one is document findings, actions, and outcomes. So let's check. So correct, you have successfully matched each step to its description. So we are done in the activity. So thank you for watching.